In this episode, I'm going to give you my secret tips on how you can control your own interview. In today's session, we are going to discuss the most important topics such as different types of interviews that you will be facing during your job application process, the background study that you need to do to perform well, the team size of the organization that you are going to apply for and its effect on how you should be doing your background research. Last but not the least are the different stages of the interview process and how you can control these stages. So let's get started with the first topic, that is the types of interviews. As a design student or probably an engineering student, you will be applying for two types of interviews. First, a technical interview and a non-technical or HR interview. Let's discuss the requirements of the technical interview that you will be facing. A technical interview usually is taken by the team leader of the project that you will be working on or by the studio head. They are first going to check if you have an adequate amount of domain knowledge that is required to fulfill the requirements of the project that you will be working on. The next they will look at is the skill level that you have, and when I say the skill level, that means the level of software applications that you can use to complete the given job. This is where they will also be looking at the other skills that you have, like time management or team leading skills. The technical interviewer is also going to look at the efficiency of your work. That means how much work you can complete in given time or in the minimum amount of time. And they will also be looking at the effectivity of your work, which means how much amount of correct work are you completing in the given amount of time. So, in a technical interview, the interviewer is going to ask you about the previous job and the projects that you have worked on to define a judgment about you and the above points. On the other hand, the other type of interview is going to be a non-technical interview or HR interview. Usually this interview will be taken care by HRs. That's why it's commonly known as HR interview or HR round. In this interview, HR is going to check if you are good fit for the team. That means they are going to see your team collaboration skills. They are going to see your genuineness. So when I say genuineness, that means are you genuine about the work that you are doing, and are you a person who can be trusted. The HR is also going to check if you are going to be a short-term or a long-term asset for the company, and depending on that, they will be giving their opinion about your interview. So with this information, now you can confidently study and plan the content of your interview. The next topic we are going to look at is the background study. While doing the background study, you must focus on the organization. You need to find the domain in which the organization is working so that you are well aware of the projects or the product the company is manufacturing or giving it as a service. Then the next thing that you should search for is the team size that you will be getting in. And the last pointer to study is the current star projects of the organization. You can find this information either on the company website or on the LinkedIn page of the company. You can also find some more information on the platforms like the awards website, where you will find the information about the project for which the company won an award. Now this information will help you to plan the content of your interview for the 3 stages that we will be looking at in the upcoming topics. The other background study that you should do is about your interviewer. Most of the time, when the contact person from the company is going to contact you for an interview, they will share the details of your technical interviewer. If not, you have opportunity to ask the contact person who will be doing your technical interview. With the help of LinkedIn platform, you can find about the current work that the interviewer is working on and the interests that the interviewer keeps in his or her work life. This information will help you create a bond between you and the interviewer. The next topic that we are going to look at is the team size. Now you might feel what is going to be the impact of the team size on your interview. But I will say that this is the most crucial point to discuss because you will be either applying for a smaller team or a larger team. A smaller team will obviously demand an individual performer. Since they might not have a good amount of resources, they will expect you to be the jack of all trades. For example, if you are going to join a small design studio with an employee set of 15 to 20, usually you will be expected to contribute to multiple roles on different projects of the studio. On the other hand, if you are applying for a larger team, then this team will be expecting you to be a team player, and they will also be expecting that you are the master of one particular aspect of the job. For example, if you are joining a company that has an employee set of more than 50 to 60 employees, they will usually expect you to work on one particular job of the project. A good example of this would be companies like Microsoft have different teams of user experience designers and user interface designers, whereas an individual design studio usually has a common UI UX designer role. Let's move ahead to the most important part of this video, that is the stages of the interview. Usually a technical interview will have 3 stages in it. The first stage will be the introduction stage. The second stage will be about knowledge sharing. And the last stage will be the conclusion of the interview. Let's start with the first stage of the interview, that is an introduction. The introduction section of the interview will last for 5 minutes. It is the first opportunity to grab the control of the interview. And this you can do from the very start when the interviewer is going to ask you to tell them about yourself. The best answer to tell us about yourself question is by not reading your resume, because the interviewer would have already gone through your resume. And instead of telling facts, you can tell a story, because as human beings, we connect with stories more than facts. While telling your story, you can add the sentences which will create a bond of emotion with the interviewer. And also, you can make it more informative and interesting to listen. Let's see an example of how to do this. Hi, I'm P. I love to be called a UX designer because while studying my engineering in computer science, I used to think that the apps and websites that I'm fond of are designed and developed by engineers. But later I discovered that it's being done by designers, and I thought how interesting work it is. This thought pushed me to learn more about design as a field, where I discovered that it's UI UX designer who does this job. Further studying more, I learned that the responsibilities of UX designer and UI designer. Then I decided not to limit myself to just the internet knowledge and got myself enrolled with DBM Design Academy for a certified UI UX design course. Before taking this course, I made sure that I will be learning basics and advanced techniques, methodologies and softwares. In addition to my expectation, the DBM Design Academy also allowed me to work on a live project. It was related to a grocery app startup called MyBasket. I was supporting a senior designer for both UX and UI sides. If you have another 10 to 15 minutes, I can quickly run you through this project. In this story, Pete actually highlighted some of his qualities. And while doing so, he was very subtle. For example, when he said, "I love to be called a UX designer," he was talking about how passionate he is about his field. When he told about his engineering in computer science, he was actually telling that he has coding knowledge, which was beneficial for his job role. Again, when he talked about discovering that designers design the apps and websites, he was actually telling how inquisitive he is. So similarly, in the rest of his introduction, he actually told more and more about being passionate about UX design, being inquisitive, being a person who pushes his boundaries, how he is a doer, and how he is a trustworthy person. And the last sentence was the icing on the cake, when he said, "If you have another 10 to 15 minutes, I can quickly run you through this project." This is where he was actually taking the control of the next stage of the interview, that is, knowledge sharing. The knowledge sharing section usually lasts for 15 to 20 minutes. And since you have already been telling about how passionate you are, sharing the experience and learnings from the project, you are already controlling the interview. Again, do not forget to share stories over facts, because here the interviewer is more interested to learn how did you tackle the problems while working on a project. So while telling your story, avoid telling facts, because already the interviewer is more experienced person and he knows the facts, and this is where he or she will trick you with more questions. Instead, share your learnings from the challenges you faced while working on the project, and also how did you overcome those challenges. You can also share how you took responsibility while working in a team. In addition, if possible, share a story about your failure, and again how you took responsibility and overcome that failure with a planned step. While telling a story, you can also appreciate one of your current team members. This will tell the interviewer that you actually are a team member and you appreciate it when somebody helps you or works for you. Lastly, you can share how this project has impacted your life. And while doing that, you can end up with one key learning that you had while working on this project. You can smartly align this key learning with the interest of your interviewer, which you learned while doing the background research of your interviewer. This will lock the emotional bond between you and the interviewer, and also will give you the control of the next stage of the interview process, and that is the conclusion. The conclusion stage is a stage that will last for 5 to 10 minutes. This is where the interviewer is going to ask you questions about the things that he didn't get while speaking to you, or even he can ask more questions to check your knowledge. But since you had already locked the emotional bond with your interviewer, this time he or she might be softer with you. In this section, you can also ask questions to interviewer about current projects, the clients, the team, and this will tell the interviewer that you are excited to join the organization. Lastly, be confident while thanking. Don't just say thank you. Make your thank you sentence more detailed. Maybe you can say, "Thank you, sir, for being patient and listening to my project. I'm eager to hear about the next step. By when will I get the information about it? And who should I get in touch with to know more?" With this kind of a closing statement, you are going to take the ball back again in your court, which will give you an upper hand on getting connected with the organization's contact person. Before concluding, I would like to tell you that please do the practice before appearing for an interview. This will help you to be more confident and focused about what you want to speak and what you want to avoid. All the best for your interview. See you soon in another episode. Bye bye.